Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. My name is Miss Hutchinson Lemby, and today we're going to learn about a problem that many students face when writing and a mistake that many students make when writing. And it's called run-on sentences. And I'm sure you guys heard it, and I'm sure you guys have made those mistakes before in your writing. And we're also going to talk a little about comma splices. So I'm going to pass out a packet of what we're going to be talking about, a mini lesson before we go into the activity. Here you go. Okay. Here you go. Alright, so on the front page, we're going to talk about what a complete sentence is, or also known as an independent clause. So a complete sentence is a complete thought, has minimally two parts, and it has a subject and a verb. So an example that I have right here is, he writes music. Alright, so I'm going to have somebody tell me what the subject is. Kira.
He
Good. And what would the verb be?
writes.
And what would the direct object be?
Music.
Good. Alright. So moving on. So we're going to talk about run-on sentences. And a type of run-on sentence that we're going to go over is called a fused sentence. And who wants to read the definition for me? Kira.
A fused sentence consists of two independent clauses, but both the comma and coordinating conjunction are missing.
Good. So an example of a fused sentence that I have right here is, she writes the music, he plays the guitar. And that has nothing in between, no comma to separate the two clauses or anything. So that is grammatically incorrect. Alright, so we're going to go over some strategies for correcting these fused sentences. First one is going to be to create a compound sentence. And that is basically inserting what is called a coordinating conjunction, which is using the words for, nor, but, yet, and, so, plus a comma. And you'd always put this coordinating conjunction after the comma, never before the comma, always after the comma. Remember that. So the correct compound sentence for the sentence would be, she writes the music, comma, and he plays the guitar. Or you could say, she writes the music, comma, but he plays the guitar. Anything you want to do. Second way would be to separate independent clauses with periods and capitalizations. So that's basically taking those two independent clauses, separating them totally, putting a period right in the middle, because they're two different ideas, you can do that. So correct sentence would be, she writes music, period, he plays the guitar. It's correct anyway. Third way, which is an unpopular way, is to insert a semicolon. So semicolons should be used sparingly. They're used to connect independent clauses that are closely related or closely correlated. So ideas that are very similar, you put them together. It's like putting a period, same thing like putting a period within two independent clauses, but you just put a semicolon in there. Alright, so fourth way would be to link ideas using a subordinate clause, or what is known as a dependent clause. So you would use although or while in front of it, saying like, while she writes music for Coldplay, comma, he plays the guitar for that band. Alright, moving on to the next page. So I'm not going to go over comma splices that much because it's very similar to what a fused sentence is. So an example of a comma splice I have here, like for the other one, was she writes the music, comma, he plays the guitar. So not correct grammatically. So the strategies I have right here, as you see, would be one, inserting a coordinating conjunction to create the compound sentence, which is what we talked about before, doing the comma and comma but, same thing like fixing a fused sentence, or to insert a semicolon, which is what I talked about before. And you have to make sure, just make sure when you use a semicolon that those meanings have to be closely connected. They cannot be two separate ideas, okay? Alright. So the next page after that is just basically some examples and explanations on what a run-on sentence is. You can look at that later or now if it'll help you. And the page after that is some practice that I have for you, is avoiding some run-on sentences. And I'd like for you to try the first one out, and I'll give you a couple moments to work on that first one, do what you think is right to fix that sentence. And when you're done, I'll call on each of you and have you tell me what you use to fix that sentence, because there's multiple ways to fix it. So if you need help, also call me over and I'll help you. So. Just put your pencils down when you're done, so I know you're done. Alright, so who wants to go first? Alright, Yeah, you go first. Go ahead.
So for my correct one, I said
Mhm.
I moved.
Here, actually, read the incorrect sentence first, and then read the correct one.
I moved to the United States when I was young. It was easy to learn English. My parents were already here. They knew English already.
All right, now read your correct sentence.
I moved to the United States when I was young. It was easy to learn English. My parents were already here and knew English already.
Tell us where you put commas.
Oh, I put a comma after young,
Mhm.
and then I put a period after English.
All right, let me see your pen. All right, so you said I moved to the United States when I was young, comma, it was easy to learn English, period. So when you said that, that was actually a comma splice right there. So when it says right here on the paper, I moved to the United States when I was young, comma, you will put, I moved to the United States when I was young, comma, and it was easy to learn English. Because if you don't put and after or but after that, it's still a comma splice. And then you said, my parents were already here and they knew English already. Okay, that's
That
good.
was right.
Yeah. So just that middle one was a comma slice. All right, anybody else want to share? Kiera?
Alright, mine was different. I moved to the United States when I was young, comma, and it was easy to learn English, period. My parents were already here, comma, so they knew English already.
Good. Dad, you want to share yours?
I moved to the U.S. when I was young. Period. I was young and it was easy to learn English, and my parents were already here. They knew English already.
Good. All right. So I'm gonna have you do the next two, number 2 and number 3, by yourselves. And if you have any questions or if you're struggling with something, you call me over and let me know. And when you're done, just put your pencils on. You can always refer back to the packet if you need help.
Is as a possibility for a coordinating conjunction? Do you know?
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
I didn't list all of the
Okay.
Is
types on
since?
there.
Okay, I put that.
Those are just some examples. You can use. There's a lot of transition words you can use.
Alrighty.
Alright, so we're just gonna go over number 2. I'll just have one person share what they corrected. Yeah, Kira.
Okay, I did. Juan and David recognized each other, comma, since they had been in the first grade together.
Good. And actually I'll have one more person share. Who wants to share? You wanna share, Leah? Okay, go ahead.
Juan and David recognized each other, and they have been in first grade together.
Did you put a comma before and?
Yeah.
Alright, good. So that's correct as well. Alright, so this last time we went over run-on sentences and what few sentences are and also comma splices, and we talked about how to fix strategies for fixing those, like semicolons, using conjunctions like but, as, or, since, whatever. Is there any questions you have about the topic? No? Alright,